This is Adam Sues. He, I want to say, I'm. I mean, it's pretty obvious from the content that we're going to watch here that he's a Christian conservative. But I mean, he got his start in being involved with Rebel through the pastors who were being arrested in Alberta for refusing to obey the COVID restrictions. Right? He got his start sort of like covering that, and then got like somehow caught into Rebel, and then Rebel hired him. And for a while, that's all he was doing was covering those pastors who were getting arrested for disobeying COVID. And from that, I didn't like put two to two together and think that because that was his in, that he was like overtly Christian. He could have just been like, I don't know, because even Kevin J. Johnston, who I don't the first thing that pops into my head isn't like Christian conservative with Kevin J. Johnson. He's just wacky and racist. uh, so like I couldn't tell like how Adam here fit into the picture, but it's clear to me with some of the content that's come out that he's heavily Christian, and this is an extension on that. So we've seen him previously. I think he interviewed the person who was in favor of gay conversion therapy. I'm pretty sure that was Adam Sues who interviewed that guy. Uh, so you know,
Yeah, it might have been.
pretty yikesy dude here who's into some pretty anti LGBTQ stuff, but also anti everything that, that non Christians love. You know. So what we're getting in this?
Um,
Yeah, sorry, go for it.
just before we
What
start,
is this? Are you guys
do we
kidding?
think this is a real brick background or is this a green screen?
That is definitely a green screen. You could tell with like
Yeah.
how the popping out the outline of his body is. And thank you, Colin, for the follow. Much appreciated. What we're getting tonight. So this video is very weird, and it's very weird for several reasons. It felt like a weird like the universe was speaking to me moment. I felt the Christian signs. I'm going to be converting now. But we recently posted on our YouTube channel a video about Ed the Sock. And in that Ed the Sock video, Ed the Sock interviews Kevin Sorbo. And it was just randomly, we laughed when Kevin Sorbo appeared in that Ed the Sock interview back from the 90s. And this was when, or it could have been the 2000s, but it was back when Kevin Sorbo was starring in this TV show called Andromeda. I think it was called Andromeda. And he's also stars in Hercules, was his huge breakout role in the 90s. Okay. Since then, Kevin Sorbo is kind of a joke because he found God and now only does Christian and right wing like propaganda. That's all Kevin Sorbo does nowadays. And everyone will know him from God's Not Dead. That's sort of like his main feature, and it's not a good movie. The premise is there's this teacher, and he's an atheist, and it's played by Kevin Sorbo, and this student in his university class is like, you know what? I'm going to teach that university professor atheist of mine that God's not dead, and then that's sort of like the premise of the film. It's like leading up to this big debate, and what you find out to spoil the film, you find out that Kevin Sorbo actually does believe in God. He's just angry at God for killing his wife or something, and then in the end of the film, he dies or something. I don't know. God's not dead, okay? But huge Christian conservative person, right? So I was like immediately just weirded out by that. But then also like Rebel News doesn't really talk about abortion, and I never quite like understood why that is. In part because you would think that a lot of the conservative movement is pro-life and anti-abortion and would be supporting, for example, what's going on in Texas right now. But you don't get a lot of that from Rebel. It like almost never comes up. And I wondered if part of that was a result of where Rebel fit into the sort of like right wing movement after Charlottesville and the alt-right and the sort of like Gamergate kind of stuff, which is like I felt like they fit into this kind of like this more like secular, like we're appealing to these youths like through Gamergate who are more secular, and so they never touched on any of these sort of like more prickly religious topics until like of course you start getting your Jordan Peterson coming in, and then it starts like shifting, or you get into the whole like any of the LGBTQ topics is when that starts to like become an issue. Okay, but abortion never came up. I don't know why. So it was weird. This past Wednesday, we had my friend Robin on, who's an expert on abortion and abortion-related topics, and we talked about Texas and what's happening in Canada about abortion. And then all of a sudden, this video pops up on Rebel News where Kevin Sorbo is on to talk about his new abortion film. Or anti-abortion film, I should say. So weird convergence. Now,
what is this? Are you guys kidding me?
Thank you, Northern Frog, for the follow. This what's going to happen here is it's not just going to be about abortion. Okay, I mean, the right wingers, they're going to go on tangents about cancel culture and other shit. So we're going to get a whole bunch of shit. Okay, but in the background is some pro-life propaganda. So I want to flag that up front to be like, I mean, there's nothing graphic, so you're not going to get like real depictions of fetuses. So I know that can like bug some people. You will get cartoon depictions of some things that will likely laugh at. But if that still bugs you, I guess content warning there. But otherwise, it's just going to be them saying some really stupid shit and us commenting on it. So that's what we get. Kevin Sorbo. Did you need to know anything else about Kevin Sorbo, or you kind of get the picture now with who he is?
Yeah, that sounds like enough.
Vienna was saying they don't know who Kevin Sorbo is, and if everyone in the audience doesn't know who Kevin Sorbo is either, you're in for a treat. Here we go.
Adam So's here for Rebel News, and I am
This guy
about
is
to be
super
joined
fucking
by
boring,
two very exciting guests. First off, Laura Klassen. She is the boss at Choice for Two, an organization that makes exceptional
Might
and
speed him up a little
engaging
bit.
pro-life apologetics videos and helps women facing crisis pregnancies. I'm also going to be joined by Kevin Sorbo, a man who needs no introduction, but the star of
Even though I
Hercules,
just
the series,
gave him one?
as well as Andromeda and a number of other films, fan favorites, including God's Not Dead, to name a few. He is collaborating with Laura on her latest campaign, her latest
You named
creative
one.
initiative. And
Sorry, what was that?
We're just like, including Andromeda, to name a few. That's one.
No, he did say Hercules and Andromeda, which are really the only two that he's
Oh.
known for. And then fan favorite God's Not Dead. And I guess it's a fan favorite. Now this is, I think we're gonna get the sort of like abortion propaganda, anti-abortion propaganda film he's gonna be a part of is this cartoon, and I guess he's gonna have like a voiceover role for like, I don't know how it's gonna play out, but they're showing some images here. So this is where I think we might see the weird fetus thing happening, which is I find it so funny, but I can't wait till we fucking see this.
we're going to join them both for a conversation.
All right, okay, here it goes. All right, I just want to put it back to normal speed because it goes by somewhat fast, but like I don't know, we don't get any context for what this is. But like this is not what happens during an abortion. Just so I can watch this.
About how they came together and how the
They throw
project is
small
shaped.
bombs.
Well, this
Oh, what?
okay, this is not the one I was thinking it was, but it's still
For
pretty good. Just
conversation
watch it.
About how they came together.
What the fuck just happened?
You vaporize the baby.
Nuke the fetus. Yeah, like what the fuck just happened? I have so many questions. There's an even better one later, so we won't dwell on this one too long. But like I want to know. I want to know what the fuck's going on.
And how the project is shaping up.
We will create a hard-hitting animated series that will take on some of the most
So this is their like
controversial issues
promotional
surrounding
video to get
abortion,
like donations or
including the
whatever.
church's apathy, post-abortion regret, and IVF. Yeah, we're gonna go there.
Yeah, we're gonna go there. I guess they're against IVF. Okay. Jesus. And apparently it's going to cover church apathy as well. But we get church apathy and IVF are negative, apparently.
Sure. Why
Just
not?
this sassiness. Yeah, we're going to go there.
Yeah. We're doing it.
Like, were they going to get pushback from other Christians and be like, no, don't go after IVF. We're going there.
What's their objection to IVF?
I guess because like you create the blastocyst outside of the womb and then you implant it or something like this. I imagine it's because conception occurs outside of the body or something. Yeah, it's not. It's artificial. It's not the way God intended. That is my guess of what they're going on, but I've heard that from other people, but I don't know what they're. Maybe they have a new particular angle, which is why they're like, yeah, we're going there. We have a new angle. We have a new way. This is a bad procedure.
So we've got a 6-part animated series.
Like,
What?
oh my God. I want to know what's happening.
Can we watch the animated series?
Maybe eventually. I haven't even looked to find out what it is, but this imagery is amazing. And the doctor probably injects some satanic experimental DNA changing materials. They're creating the satanic DNA materials right here. We're witnessing it.
It's called Exposed.
They put
And it is
Sorry, what was that, Vienna?
they put small bits of uranium to create dirty bombs in the fetus.
Yes. This person, I don't know who they are. I didn't care to. I mean, we're getting Sorbo. I didn't need to know who the second person is, but I guess she's the one who's like orchestrating the sort of like cartoon, directing it maybe, and or producing it. And so Sorbo is going to be a voice actor in whatever production comes out of it.
is kind of
Okay, so it says founder and director of Choice 42.
diving into some of the topics surrounding abortion that people really aren't talking about all that much.
Wonderful. And now, Kevin, your involvement in this, have you
Wonderful.
seen any of Laura's work before? Any of her sort of viral hit videos? Or what drew you into this project?
Oh, I've definitely seen her work for because I'm in that same row.
So he's getting really old. I wanted to pause it there just to like frame like this other person is in the video, but like it's clear everyone wants to hear from Sorbo. No one wants to hear from a lady. We need to hear from Sorbo. The sword, I know, fucking the Hercules sword, fucking hanging over his head or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, my God. I wonder who. I can't make out the pictures or anything, but this whole setup is hilarious.
I do a lot of pro-life speaking. I've been doing it for probably about 6-7 years now. I finished probably about 4 or 5 already this year. Last weekend, it's something I've never really talked about, but came off a movie I did called Cage No More and deals with human trafficking. So I was in Dallas last weekend doing that. But I have 3 more lined up right now in the pro-life movement. So, my mantra is, when they say pro-choice, I said that the my body, my choice thing drives me crazy because I say, well, if it was your body, you'd be dead. So I don't like that excuse that they use I call it murder. It's murder as far as I'm concerned. So what Laura's.
So, a bunch of pro-life propaganda here, but like I love this. Like we're gonna see another spin on the my body, my choice thing later on, and in particular because of the whole vaccination shit. Okay, like we're gonna get to that eventually. But notice how here it's the part of like the my body, my choice thing. It's like they're focusing on like it's the baby's body. My body, you'd be dead. Yeah, I guess it's because if it was the woman's choice, then she'd abort you and you'd be dead. And it's like, well, you were a collection of cells in a womb that doesn't. Why do you care? you wouldn't exist, so it really doesn't matter. I mean, like, extend that logic like any further too. It'd be like every time I don't choose not to have sex with a woman and get her impregnated, I'm choosing not to create life, and so therefore, like, what is the argument? Should I just be constantly creating life, just non-stop?
Yeah.
Never stop.
You're becoming Catholic now.
Yeah, Jesus.
Every sperm is sacred.
No. Definitely not. We're pro-FAP, but not because the sperm is sacred, okay? And you don't need to retain it either. It's neither sacred nor has magical powers, okay? It's just sperm. It's just sperm, okay?
Thank you, Grumpy Coffee.
Every sperm is good. Every sperm is mediocre, all right? I mean, most of my
It's a
sperm
Monty
were waste,
Python
though, okay?
reference, baby.
A few of my sperm are now, like, one of them's in grade 1. The other is really into Thomas the Train, so that's where my sperm's at right now, okay?
Every sperm is sacred.
The rest of them are all fucking dead.
Every sperm is good. Every sperm is needed in your neighborhood.
I hope we get
Can we
a
watch Every
copyright
Sperm is Sacred
strike,
after this?
I hope we get a copyright strike just for singing it.
What is this? Are you guys kidding me?
Ah, come on. Okay, Haas, we'll watch you. We'll watch you later, alright? I wish this thing would stop falling. Really annoying.
Doing and what I've been, honored to come on board in whatever way to be able to at least do the voiceover on one of these animated projects. It's very touching, very moving. It's very emotional. I think people need to.
Is this a visual representation of abortion? Is this dark cloud like captures you and then like?
I think that I think people need to. I think we need to slap people across the face to wake them up. I mean, it's crazy right now. This has been going on for as long.
Okay, so this is the video, all right? This is the one that I was ready to go. Okay, so you get these clamps coming in, all right? Now watch what they fucking do.
That is a caiman's jaws.
Okay, or it's not a baby. Well, I mean, it's shaped like a baby because it's a fucking propaganda video. Okay, but just watch what fucking happens to this penis, all right?
As long as it's been going on.
He took off its leg.
And I actually have a
scream.
What is going on? Look at this. Look at it. Look. The ripping off of the leg.
It's crazy right now. This has been going on for as long as it's been going on. And I
go on, Vienna.
You can see the baby like scream when the leg gets taken off.
Or it like jiggles, like it's like, no, don't rip off my leg.
Going on. And I
wanted to pause right when the leg snaps, and it's not letting me.
Going on for as long as it's been going on.
No, I can't get it. For some reason it won't let me pause.
Yeah, you're not gonna get it.
But that is incredible. Let the pagans spill their o'er mountain hills and plains. God shall strike them down for each sperm that's spilled in vain. Well, and if it's spilled in vain, you can prod it with the. You can look at its mouth agape too. It's like
no, that's what happened. No, the mouth opens when the leg gets taken off too.
Oh my god!
That's what I was saying. Like
they probably don't even have a functioning mouth at this part of development.
No, they probably don't. But also, like, the main reason that those tools are used is for like miscarriages, especially if it is like actually baby size, which is just a fucking traumatic experience for everybody. And if it isn't removed, then the pregnant person dies. Like,
well, that's the other thing is most abortions at this time period have to do with like the fetus being no longer viable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's miscarriage basically, or like.
Well, I mean, it's either
there's another word.
It's the pregnancy ends, but like it is a miscarriage, but it won't discharge itself, right?
Yeah.
Because normally miscarriages earlier on, they get flushed out through your period. It'll be a heavy flow, as they describe it. But yeah. So it's like to depict this as if this baby is being tormented. I mean, you have like just think about the layer of propaganda here, because like you can't visually depict that with like real fetuses, because it won't give you the like no face, right? Like that's not going to happen. So like by making the cartoon, it is explicitly like trying to give you an impression that is not reality, which is
I
in a
am
way so
surprised.
insidious.
I'm surprised the baby doesn't have blonde hair and blue eyes and look into the camera and say, "Please no, mommy,
Yeah.
I don't want to die," before this happens. Like,
Oh, so let's watch its head explode one more time, okay? Here we go.
I actually have a script that we're trying to put together, funding now, called Pearls for China. And a lot of people don't realize, as many abortions that we've had in Canada and America, China is closing in on 500 million forced abortions, which is it's mind-boggling to me.
It's absolutely staggering.
I don't know that no, I don't even
One-
know. 1 million babies.
500 million in a population of a little over a billion.
Yeah, but they were forced too, so it was like the government like
Yeah,
mandating them,
yeah.
or like
No, like, every woman in China has apparently had a forced abortion at some point.
completely made up number. I mean, like obviously they're propagandists. They made their cartoon fetus go ah!
Ah! Mommy, I don't want to die.
I mean, if they're already doing that, I don't trust any numbers they're gonna give me. You know, if they're willing to make up a fetus that's screaming in the womb, they will make up math. I accept that fact. They're going to make up the math. According to them, China is doing a lot of blood sacrifices, so that God must be powerful. Yes. Yes.
There, it's
Yeah.
a staggering human rights violation.
Sure.
You touched on lots of sort of strong apologetic arguments there, and Laura Klassen, your videos, your work, very much deals with issues. We talked last time about how your sort of ministry angle on this is caring for people and providing for people, but on the other side, you have these videos that are extremely attention-getting and conversation-grabbing.
Oh God, they threw the baby in a fire. What is going on? We must close the child sacrifice.
Presumably
camp.
because it's medical waste, so it gets incinerated.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be jiggling its arms at that point.
Yep, no, it's after its head has been crushed and its leg has been removed, it's still going.
Oh my God.
That's the thing they don't say about fetuses, is they have this rapid healing ability.
I'll tell you what, too. When they don't. The thing is, even when my children were born into this world, their limbs didn't move as much as this fucking thing does. You know, they come out like. Ah. That's like what babies do. They don't go, "Mama, no!" Could you imagine if they came out of the womb like that? They come like,
Out of the
"Mother,
womb, just
no!"
start swinging.
Good God. Oh my
Like a
God.
baby horse, just
Yeah.
like, but ready to fight. Like,
Oh my God.
picks up the nearest scalpel.
Uh, what idiots. That's all I'm gonna say to that. Dangerous, dangerous idiots. I mean, I'm laughing, but like, these people are winning in Texas right now, and in America, technically. So, yeah, we live in hell. But and you know, the one thing when we had Robin on that we talked about was like, it's like pseudoscience all the way down. Like this is just a denial, as much a denial of science and reality as the people who are anti-vax and anti-mask and all that shit. So it's all connected.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And anti-trans, all that shit.
Getting and conversation grabbing. For these 6 videos specifically, you mentioned that they might touch on some things that are a little bit distinct and maybe not the
That
usual.
Grimes?
Pardon? No, she's just
So
wearing
does
a
that-
pink wig. But 1.4 million views. Dear Lord. I love that they have to add that into it to just be. No, I don't think it was crime.
Conversation grabbing. For these 6 videos specifically.
Yeah, I was making a joke. It's fine.
Oh.
Specifically, you mentioned that they might touch on some things that are a little bit distinct and maybe not the usual talking points for pro-life apologetics. So could you maybe get into that a little bit?
Sure. So the one that Kevin's going to be doing the voiceover for is actually a true story from a medical professional who messaged me maybe about a year ago and shared the story. And it's just heart-wrenching. It's so terrible. It's an ultrasound tech who is called in to emerge to assist with a procedure, and it ends up being a second trimester abortion, and it's absolutely horrific. It's disgusting. So yeah, it's going to be a very shocking episode, and I mean, Kevin's going to be amazing. And the other ones that we've got going on, we're also going to address IVF.
So we'll get to the IVF thing again, but like, notice how she didn't say anything there. She's just it was a second term abortion, and it was just disgusting. It was just disgusting. Very like, okay. Like, I'm sure I don't think anyone would describe it as pretty. It smelled like roses. Like, I don't know. But we get no information there. And most of the shit comes out, and it's usually people who... We'll go into more detail in a bit. I remember they bring up something else that's more relevant to that point. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these people come forward, and they're lying. Because they're propagandists, or they convert to Christianity and like have guilt about the fact that they used to perform abortions.
Which is something that people... really aren't aware of, I don't think, and are very defensive about, because so many, even Christians, have gone through IVF. And I truly don't believe that people realize how many human lives are lost along the way. Even people who've done it, they just don't know. So it's something that needs to be exposed. And another of the ones that
human life is lost along the way. So I guess what she's saying, because like, they fertilize a bunch of eggs, and then because some of them become non-viable or get disposed of because they're not used, that's probably what she's saying. Life is getting thrown away. Could you like think at what level she's talking about here? Someone in a petri dish or some other contraption brought ovum and sperm together, and they started the beginning processes of recombining and replicating and all that fun stuff, that it will eventually become debate nerds on Twitch. So that is happening in a petri dish. Therefore, automatically, it is necessitating some like future life. And it's like, no, they don't have to complete. In fact, a lot of this happens. A lot of that may happen when you're getting pregnant, and most of it will get flushed out and miscarry and other stuff. So most of that is non-viable. But like you have to assume that like conception starts somewhere in that very basic process, when there's like, it's literally just a few cells in a dish. And frankly, I care as much about a few cells in a dish as I do about my dry skin cells right here. Flaking off.
Please use a moisturizer.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty hard hitting is about fetal harvesting of aborted babies who are aborted alive, and their organs are harvested while they're alive for a bunch of different things, that different research that's being done on them.
I very much
That's not
appreciate.
happening. That's not happening at all. I wish that I had no ethics and I could just make up stuff constantly. just say it out loud, and then I'll make a cartoon to show that I'm right. I don't have to
I
provide.
fucking hate when they talk about organ harvesting while alive or while awake or whatever other bullshit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like, this gets back to, I think it was Project Veritas. They did a stint where they exposed these like partial birth abortions and like organ harvesting, and how Planned Parenthood was like harvesting organs, and they found out that like Project Veritas, which has done this in all of their videos, heavily edited the content in which they made it seem like it was saying, like the people in the video who worked for Planned Parenthood were saying things that they weren't actually doing. But there you have it. And see you, two cars. Have fun. Experiments into how to better produce adrenochrome. Yeah, it's I mean, I wouldn't doubt that they're QAnon supporters. Isn't Sorbo? I think Sorbo is on that line. I think he might be in the QAnon community. I don't know, but wouldn't surprise me. Take it easy, two cars. Thanks for the sub earlier.
With your content, as you mentioned, some people, I've had the same conversations as well regarding IVF. When you have a principled stance like you have, sometimes that means kind of ruffling the feathers of even people who might be considered allied or friends. And I think that it's really important that you do have those conversations, because if we're not logically consistent about what a human life is and when it begins, we can fall into the same traps that progressives fall into. And I think because of
like, we don't have to fall into traps though. Like I find it weird too. Like, imagine being someone who's like what? So the cells, I think I said this when Robin was talking. I don't believe there is an answer to when life begins. I kind of think that's a meaningless question to even ask. But like, so say these people go, life begins when these two things touch, and that's conception, and now we have life. But then there's these other Christians who are like, no, that's not quite life. Life somehow, we're gonna arbitrarily draw the lines here. So all these people are all standing around fighting where exactly to draw the line such that life, not life. Life, not life. And I don't have to deal with that because I think this distinction is completely fucking pointless and meaningless. You know? Or it's so arbitrary that it's not even worth having a discussion over, you know? That's why I'm okay with abortions up to the age of 55, okay? Because that's when life actually begins. Life doesn't fully, you haven't apexed in the prime of life until 55. Up until that point, you can be aborted, you know?
I do think that it's referred to as suicide after a certain point, but
No, it's extreme late-term abortions. Extreme late-term abortions. Like,
sure.
the thing is, I just don't think that, for one, I think that life is a weird sort of like marker. I'm making this joke, but like really, that's hard to define. And I don't think that is like, I guess, what would I say? Like, the thing that matters, right? It's the same reason why, like, if this person was really consistent or really cared about consistency, why does like a petri dish with a few cells matter more than a chicken that you eat, or a tree that you consume, or a plant, or some fruit, right? Like, some of these things, please, like, start trying to find the nuance in all these things, where it's like, I think there might be something else that matters just a little more. Like, I don't know, maybe consciousness might be a good marker for something like this, you know? And thank you, Famous Horse, for the resubscription. 7 whole months. 7 whole months. I think that's pretty much how long we've been streaming. You're OG. You're OG. And I appreciate. We're talking about abortion. I find this is the thing, is like, I don't mind talking about it here, but like, this is another reason of hating debate. I hate all the debate bros that will sit around and debate this. I'll think the other thing. So I mentioned consciousness, but ultimately autonomy is what matters when it comes to abortion, right? Autonomy matters. Hence why it's
autonomy for all.
Yep.
Of, on one hand, your compassionate outreach, but on the other hand, your uncompromising message delivery, you manage to be effective. Kevin, I wanted to ask you a little bit, perhaps in your work talking about pro-life issues, how are you able to be effective? We've seen, I don't know if it's the same in the United States, but certainly in Canada, a number of groups, a large group of compassionate and caring people, but we haven't seen the needle jump, so to speak, as far as laws changing, as far as a cultural shift. How can people effectively get the pro-life message out?
isn't this weird that this came out after the Texas decision? Like, he's saying laws aren't changing. They had... It's... I find this weird that they would deny the fact that they got what they wanted. You know?
Yeah. Words mean nothing. Laws mean nothing.
It's almost like they're
Nothing means anything, it's all fake.
It's like they're afraid of the victory because then they can't keep pushing the victim narrative, you know? It's like with the victory, they don't need to push anymore. They've basically gutted Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade in America is pretty much useless. Doesn't mean anything anymore. As sad as that is, and that means that we need to fight, those of us on the left, those of us who believe in the rights of pregnant people, the rights of autonomy of human beings that get pregnant, that we need to fight more and protect them in America. But they don't even seem to take credit for their own victories. And part of it might be that the Texas law is so wacky with the whole like bounty hunter shit that even they don't want to take credit for it. But I don't know. Very weird.
They've got to not be afraid to do it. I think fear is an amazing weapon. We're seeing it being used with COVID right now. And governments of every level are using fear to control our lives. And that's what happens with the pro-life. I think, it's been around for so long, since Roe v. Wade here in America. You're looking at 50 years of this being around now. And so those generations that have come afterwards, it's just, to them, it's as normal as going outside and going to the store. I mean, they don't even think of it that way anymore. It's my body, my choices, their mantra, like I said.
So, but notice, like, it's amazing to me how, like, mind-numbingly contradictory this is, right? They're using fear to control us by promoting pro-choice. Like, somehow we're so... I mean, it hasn't stopped. They're winning that fight to a certain degree, right? The Texas thing happened. They got the Supreme Court full of pro-life Supreme Court justices. They won that fight, and yet they're still like, they're using fear to control us. And that's why we want to take control away from people with our law. Control's bad, but we want to control people. Like, it's... I mean, I guess they probably...
There's also the like... when right-wingers accidentally describe something that sounds really good and cool, where, like, he's talking about it being as normal to young people as going to the store. And it's like, damn, I wish it were that normal. Like, it should be. One day it will be. And Sorbo, you will die.
I mean, this fits into the conversation that we were having with Robin, where it's like, it sadly isn't that normalized yet, right? I mean, I there's countless times where I've had conversation with people where they're pro-choice, but they'll say, yeah, but I still feel like there's some cases where it's not allowed. And that leads to, like, what Robin was saying, where, like, the nurses are telling patients that they don't provide the abortions. And there's layers of this being, like, instilled in the culture. Even though the abortions are available and they do provide it, this person just happens to be in the system and doesn't want to provide the abortion, and therefore makes it harder for that person, right? So yeah, it's like the culture isn't there yet. I wish it was as normalized as he's making it out to be. But it, like, notice as well, it's like they're so under attack. They're even under attack now when they've won, and yet, like, they still think that the other thing is the thing that's normalized. Like I don't even know how to wrap my fucking brain around that. They've won, they've got what they wanted, and yet he still thinks that the culture thinks that it's A-okay and normalized, and everyone's just walking around, like, it's like you go to the convenience store to get a Slurpee and an abortion. Like, that's how he thinks it's happening right now, That is some fucking complex... I don't even know what the hell's going on there. Death to Sorbo. Yes. God is not dead, but Sorbo will eventually be dead. That sword is going to slide from its hooks and decapitate him.
And Laura's put together something here that is incredible to me because it needs to be done. I've always wanted to say, okay, if we found a woman that would let us film what actually goes on inside her body, and really film it and said, regardless, I want the abortion. Yeah, go ahead and film it. I think that would be something that would wake people up. So this next best thing is doing I'm doing a real story about this guy that witnessed.
I love, like, he's acknowledging here that, like, we can't get women to that would let us film inside of them, and so we just have to go with cartoons. What a fucking weird fucking thing.
It's going to be done in animation, but the animation in itself, in the story from this guy, yeah. I started crying when I was reading this thing. And we'll see what happens when I read it out loud. But I was blown away by this because the same thing happened with Abby Johnson, right? That's where the Unplanned movie came out of the same guys that.
What was that, Vienna? Did you say anything, or was it a?
I think I said something like a few seconds ago.
I did not hear it.
That was forgotten it. I apologize.
Okay. Have you ever heard of so this? You probably have heard of this because this is Unplanned. This is the movie. So for those who don't know, we live in London. Western University is in town. I used to attend that university. Vienna used to attend one of the affiliate colleges. Is that correct? Hmm? Yeah. But and I think it was King's College basically screened this movie, and I went to a protest protesting it. But the premise of this film is this person, so it's called Unplanned. She apparently used to be a doctor, or not a doctor, a nurse or helper who worked at an abortion clinic, and describes all these horror stories that occurred at the abortion clinic. And so you know how like we were like mocking some of the animations earlier where I'm like saying the limbs like wouldn't move like that or whatever, and like essentially she in this movie they do the same thing but like with more like CG babies of like they come out of the womb and they're like screaming for help before they get chopped up and their organs harvested and stuff like this. It's a terrible film. It's terrible, it's graphic, it's gory, but it's the whole message is that somehow these like, you know, barely formed fetuses are really like they're about to talk to you and be like what Vienna said earlier where they're like, mommy, no. And it's like, no. And so it has come out that she lied about a bunch of stuff in this movie. She is a liar, but that doesn't matter. They turned her false story into a fucking movie and then screened it at a university in our hometown because that's what we... I mean, contrary to what fucking Sorbo just said, the opposite is normalized, where it seems like A-okay to just scream anti-abortion propaganda and try to remove autonomy, mostly from women, but also trans men. Because that's what they do. And I want to know the other like really sick thing about this too is like part of King's College, if you attended the movie screening, you would get a partial credit towards your fucking university degree. Isn't that fun?
God bless Catholic university colleges. God bless
incredible.
The publicly funded Catholic school boards.
Repeat copy, the sort of
God
Damocles. What else are we God blessing? Sorry, I cut you off.
I was just trying to think of Catholic school or Catholic things, and the only other thing that I had was residential schools. And I'm not gonna say God bless to that one, even though it is Catholic. That's nope. Death to kings, yes.
And I drank it.
Death to all monarchs, even Christ our King's University College.
I was doing my PhD in philosophy at Western University and then dropped out, which is why I currently live in London. Even though I dropped out, and then a pandemic started, and have been a Twitch streamer ever since. That's where we're at with that. Yeah. My younger sis goes there, but still. Oh, to Kings? Yeah. Anyways, this is Unplanned.
Wrote the movie that I was in, God's Not Dead and What If. And Abby wasn't in there.
The same person who did Unplanned also did God's Not Dead, which is, yeah, of course.
She just got called in from the desk, and then she witnessed that, and she said, what are we doing? This is unbelievable. Because I think people it's almost like a brainwashing that they don't really understand how horrific and how horrible this is. One thing you mentioned about laws, I just got on my desk here today, the governor.
Like, I just want to pause it, just like the projection to be like, everyone else is brainwashed. Meanwhile, like, we made these polished movies of a false made up fucking story, and we make cartoons where the like fetuses are just like wiggling their arms in unrealistic ways, but it's everyone else who's brainwashed, not the people that we're actively brainwashing with our fucking propaganda. Dear Lord.
Of Texas just passed a law. They passed a law that the heartbeat law that they got it up to six weeks, but I think there's a heartbeat within 22 to 24 days, I believe. And if there's a heartbeat, you cannot get an abortion now. They'll be coming at them, Planned Parenthood and all the wackies. We're going after these guys. They'll set up for a lawsuit. But I love the fact that this is a start, and it's in one of the biggest states in America. So
So his issue is it doesn't go far enough. His issue is 6 weeks is not enough. What you need is like, the government needs to be preventing all miscarriages. So now women, as soon as you're fertilized, you like have to maintain that thing forever. Like, is that what he fucking wants? Probably. He probably thinks like pregnant people hooked up to machines is like where we need to go to like make sure that they maintain that pregnancy. And that they don't get any sovereignty over like what they do with their bodies or autonomy. It's just everything for the fetus. Like, holy shit. That's terrifying. This dude and the shit that they're doing, terrifying. I'm just gonna put it out there. Fuck these people. And yes, Sword of Damocles, please, come faster. Jesus.
I champion these guys for coming through what they're doing in Texas right now.
And I believe the Biden administration has already planned an emergency appeal. Shocking, of course. There's no lack of vitriol towards people, particularly when they're effective and they're generating these types of conversations. Laura, in doing some of the fundraising for...
Like, you just went on about how, like, ineffective you are, and now you're like, oh, they're coming at us, even though, like, we're winning. We're winning. Why are you coming after us? It's like... I don't fucking know. It's like, yeah, of course they're unhappy because they don't agree with you with the shit you made up. But I thought you were the victim. Adam, and now you're trying to pretend like, we're winning. Why are you being mean to us still when we're winning? It's almost like he's gonna put a gun to someone's head and be like, why are you upset? I'm gonna kill you, but why are you upset that I'm gonna kill you? Like, just take it. Just take it. What a fucking idiot.
For this upcoming series, you had sort of a campaign where you flipped the narrative on these trolls who say some truly awful things. Could you maybe tell us about that?
Yeah. The Trolls for Exposed campaign. Like, we always get hate mail. We always get like death threats. So this is not new, but since we announced it, it seriously ramped up. And it started with one person saying that someone should douse me in gasoline and light the match. Which I'm like, how are you actually saying this online? And that's not considered hate speech, apparently. So I just screenshot that and said, hey, let's turn this around on them and let's use this for fundraising. So in honor of this person.
Believe me. So she's like, is that a threat? Believe me, Cunson, if someone wants to get rid of you, they will find a way. Oh, wow.
Who's so angry and so terrible, let's raise the first, I think it was $5,000. And so we did. And so then we just kept going with it because the hate mail kept coming and the comments kept coming. So they haven't realized that, you know, they haven't realized, well, I don't know, they just can't control themselves or something, because all of their hateful messages I'm using to fundraise. And every single one of them has gotten us 5K. And now I think we're at 46,000 out of 60,000. So like, we're doing it.
So there, I mean, yeah, but I mean, are you growing your audience, or are you just like constantly milking the same base that agrees with you that is like opposed to these death threats? I highly doubt there's people on the sidelines going, you know what? I am for abortion and I think that's perfectly good, but because this person threatened you, I'm going to donate to your cause. I don't think that that's what's happening.
It's mind-boggling that they keep commenting, but they're helping.
You know what? I get that same thing with trolls all the time. I mean, Facebook took me down for posting the truth, and just what you just.
Kevin Sorbo speaks out after Facebook deleted his page. Freedom of speech has gone out the window. The openly conservative actor claimed this isn't the first time he's been targeted. I wonder what he was targeted for.
Now I get people, threatening my family, threatening me, and yet they get to stay up. I'm posting stuff like saying, hey, look what all these doctors are saying about mask wearing. What do you guys think?
Okay,
why can't we have both sides of both issues? But, these people are filled with so much anger. I'm not surprised that death threats towards you and death threats toward me, because these people believe in death. They believe in murder.
Yeah.
They glorify it. And so...
Oh my fucking God. Like, I am against masks because they're the ones who are pro-death because they're against abortion. Meanwhile, my policy is killing a bunch of alive people today. And but they're going to take me off Facebook. So I'm the one that's censored. But not only am I being censored, I want to control you and everything that happens to you when you're pregnant. But you're not the victim. I'm the victim because I got kicked off Facebook. Everything about this person's worldview is so fucked up. His brain has melted. We are witnessing brain melt. There's nothing left. We can almost see it dripping out of his ears. It's nothing. Jesus. It's like you know what it is? It's like there's just like a series of like talking points in his brain, and he just like goes through them, even though none of them are like internally consistent. Like a Ben Bankus comedy routine, but like with no intention to be funny. Ben Bankus, that's for the deep lore people who are watching right now. I'm not going to explain it.
You're dealing with, we have a very secular world right now, and it's filled with just a lot of evil and a lot of just dangerous and angry and hateful people that I swear, if I did a documentary on these people's lives, I bet you would find out a common thread in there, that these are people that do not like themselves whatsoever, and probably didn't grow up in very good situations, and their lives didn't turn out the way they are. So what do? They blame a God they don't believe in. They blame you. They blame me. They blame the world. And it's sad. And I know that we should pray for these people and do the best we can with saying, guys, let's try to have some common ground here. But as you said, these people sit and threaten you, and they don't get taken down, but I get taken down for saying the truth.
And
I'll say I don't hate myself. I don't love myself. I'm pretty neutral with myself, It's all right. I don't hate God, personally. I mean, I'm pretty neutral about that as well. Don't really believe that it exists, but don't really care if you do believe that it exists. How about you, Vienna?
I'm of no opinion. I don't take questions from Imperial News.
I had a good tweet that went underappreciated, which is like, when I yelled at Maxime Bernier, it would have been incredible if he was like, I do not take questions from Imperial News. That would have been epic branding opportunity,
It would have been horrific if Bernier could see 2 years into the future to make a reference.
I know. The podcast had started then, but it was really fresh when that happened. Because I think
No, I mean more just like because the I don't speak to Rebel News was
yeah.
not yet a thing.
it was soon to be a thing. I think it happened like shortly after that. Because I do think that was it was definitely because that happened the day the writ was drawn. Correct. Yeah, because Jugmeat was in town, or it was the night before the writ was drawn, because Jugmeat was in town, and then the day after. Anyways. Yes.
I get taken down if I have to block out their names for their threatening comments, because if I actually just screenshot it with their comments, which they made publicly, I get in trouble for inciting bullying against them.
We get threatened and shut down by the government for even asking questions.
My God.
Yeah.
So
it's insane what we're doing now. I just never thought I'd see something like this happen so quickly, but it's just crazy right now. But not surprised Biden. It's not Biden. It's the people behind Biden. Biden just sort of stands there and forgets his lines.
Big babies.
But it's the people behind him that are running the country right now, and these are very hateful and angry people.
And I think in the United States, at least,
that feels icky to me. That's like someone's pulling the strings kind of conspiratorial shit really gets to me. But the main takeaway there is that, like, it's really just what was me, I'm the victim shit here. And it really is, like, that's the thing, like, with fascism, is they'll never be satisfied. Even when they're winning things, they're still the victim. And, like, that's why all these people who are like, I'll side with them now because they agree with my thing, they will come for you eventually. They will come until there's nothing left. So don't even start with them. You tell them to fuck off immediately. And occasionally, when it's a good meme opportunity, you punch them in the face like they did to Richard Spencer.
there's still an underlying sort of conservatism. There are major networks that are sort of taking a stand and speaking back to at least some extent. Canada, we have the government paying out most of the news agencies. They're receiving bailouts they simply would not survive without. And so the narrative we're receiving here, so many people receiving, is so unanimous. And you'll have hundreds of people sending messages of hatred to you, tweeting absolutely hateful things. And then every media outlet will report the one guy who had a sign that was a little bit appropriate and call the conservatives the hateful ones, the radical ones. It's unbelievable. And I think for many years we did accept that narrative that, oh, well, I mean, maybe we're the bad guys. I think that's something that we've accepted for too long, and we have to shift that. I wanted to ask,
what if they ever accepted the bad guys? What the fuck? Hot take: Xena is superior to Hercules? Oh yeah, 100%. Father the Muth and the TV shows. Oh, both the myth and the TV shows. Yes. True. Truth. I sometimes just they live in a complete and utter. It's hard for me to tell apart how much this is actually them feeling this reality that's completely made up in their heads, or if these people are on the know and are just realize it's a grift. Fuck this Haas thing. I wish it would just go away. Since it's different accounts, there's no way to stop it. I'm gonna search to see if there's some sort of bot thing to stop it, but it must be doing this to everyone.
Are you guys kidding me?
Weird.
Ask you though, Kevin, with being an actor, being someone who is in a field where we've seen so many people be canceled for daring to have original thoughts, how do you survive?
Daring.
How do you hold on to that position? And how do you continue to work with so many people saying so many negative things about you?
Well, I got booted out.
What? What kind of fucking question is this? How do you
I genuinely just can't even comprehend what's going on anymore.
How do you deal as an actor who's just you're so canceled, which is why you make a bunch of Christian films? I don't
from my manager and agent in Hollywood about 10, 11 years ago. I found it quite comical when they brought me into the office to talk to me. And I said, well, wait a minute. So you say you can't get me out there anymore because I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative. In Hollywood, that's like being a double leper, apparently. But it blows my mind that they're the industry that for decades has screamed for tolerance. Please be tolerant of this, be tolerant of that, freedom of speech, but it's all a one-way street with them. So, that door was closed, but God opened another door. And I've been doing a lot of family-friendly movies.
I have to say, I don't know if it's just because the students are back in town, but the fucking emergency sirens that go past my house is just endless. And it's not just when I'm streaming. It is all fucking day. All I hear is the emergency sirens. And it's been nonstop for like the past week. And I don't know what it is.
It's been really bad, yeah. Like I don't know, there hasn't been anything in my area. So it's kinda
It's gotta be students.
It's gotta be something about closer to campus, yeah.
And there was a video going around of like, I guess they're having tons of parties and shit like that because I guess everyone's like super stoked that like in their minds like COVID's over. And like I am glad. I think they released it was saying something like over 90% of the students are vaccinated, so like good. But like,
and they said like nearly 100% or something, or like effectively 100.
What I couldn't tell is because it said residences are like 99% vaccinated, but like I didn't know if that was representative of, or I think like they probably can't get the numbers figured out because not everyone is like attending in person, so it's like they don't have to get vaccinated then, so it'll fuck up their numbers or something. But
I think the claim was staff, maybe like residents or some other word, administrators or something, and students were all like effectively 100%.
Yeah, either
on
way.
Campus.
Yeah.
So it's like, but yeah, they're Western students. Of course, they're going to be fucking partying. Like, what else? What else do they have to do? It's London.
They're all just partying because they're excited for the election. Yeah, exactly. You were knocking doors with Durka today. I will be knocking doors with Durka on Sunday. I don't know if it's going to be with Durka, but I will be knocking doors regardless on Sunday. And then probably again on Monday. Probably. But something else is happening on Monday that I might be doing something. I don't know. Wink! Wink! But that'll be a surprise. Maybe I'll... That will be a surprise. Maybe I'll if it goes well or if I do something naughty, maybe I won't. But we'll see. We'll see. If I
think save that for Wednesday. There's something bigger going on then.
Watch it, like it's gonna be so anticlimactic. I still don't know if I'm gonna do something or not. I might do something.
There's a lot of faith-based movies in the independent world, and I'm a hard worker. I don't take no for an answer, and I've just been plugging along. We got the Sorbo Studios. People can go to sorbostudios.com to check up on what we're doing. And I've shot 3 movies this year. I shot a pilot for a new TV series, and I'm about to do Left Behind. So I find a way to stay busy. I just refuse not.
How many times do they redo Left Behind? I feel like just like every other year, there's like a new Left Behind movie. Jody is committing an act of terrorism. No, not quite. For those who don't know, Left Behind was like, I feel like it was made in the 70s or the 1980s. It was like a book series about the rapture. And there was even a movie version with Nicolas Cage that came out at one point that was really bad. Really, really bad. But apparently he's going to be in the new Left Behind movie. But I would recommend, instead of watching his films, which, they're pretty funny, there's a great podcast that I couldn't recommend more called God Awful Movies that basically just reviews all Christian films, but including this dude. If he has a Christian film, the God Awful Movies people have probably reviewed it.
Not to stay busy. My parents, I grew up in a small town in Minnesota, so I know what winters are like too. And they instilled in me hard work. They all 5 of us kids. It was like, you work hard and don't give up. So I'm that way. I'm a very strong-willed person. I love the industry. Unfortunately, the mainstream doesn't love me. Mainstream Hollywood doesn't love me. You talk about, politics is downstream from culture. Who runs the culture? Well, you mentioned the mainstream media, along with Hollywood. I mean, you see the movies coming out of Hollywood. I find it the hypocrisy in our politics is so blatant, and they don't care. Every time there's any kind of a shooting somewhere, you get these A-list actors coming out and say, "We got to get rid of guns." And these are the same people that do movies where they kill 100 people with guns. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe they should start. It's just you look at this and go, "What can?"
You know what's funny? Is he's taking on my affectations here, being like, "What? Like what? Oh my god! Like they just believe such stupid things." But like, what he just said was really fucking stupid. They want to take away your guns, but they want to show fake gun violence in a movie, and so they're... What? It's like, I don't know.
Yep, it's all the same.
I'll tell you one thing. The fake James Bond on the TV screen never shot through the screen and killed me. But maybe a person in real life with an actual gun... Okay, Vienna, we're not there yet. We have Elon Musk has not invented that technology yet.
He's not invented 5D movies.
Also,
6D.
Yeah, I do have to point out that he quoted Andrew Breitbart. I wanted to make sure that it was Andrew Breitbart, so I Googled it. And yes, it was indeed. The whole politics is downstream from culture. That's basically, it's called the Breitbart Doctrine. That was what Andrew Breitbart sort of like quoted and why he came up with his Breitbart newspaper. Dude's dead now, but confirmed Breitbart reader right here. That's what we got right here.
Maybe you guys should start, leading by example in a better way then.
Not to mention endorsing Democratic candidates in states with the absolute highest gun crime, but that's another conversation.
I know. Look at Chicago. I mean, you got. I mean, where's Black Lives Matter there? When literally 99.2% of the shootings are black on black, 99.2%. But the 0.8% that involve police officers, that's all they want to talk about.
Yeah, it's certainly a narrative, and it's haunting how unanimous it is in Canada and the United States. The next thing I wanted to tell.
So, just casual racism thrown into the mix here. Just a word. There is Black Lives Matter in Chicago. In fact, the police have killed people in Chicago, which caused some of the activism in Chicago. But not only that, like those statistics are often like misconstrued and not quite correct. But even if they were, what does that matter? Police still shouldn't be killing people. Let's just say that like all of Chicago was just a fucking bloodbath. Like people just murdering each other all over the fucking place, regardless of the race. That doesn't mean that a cop should just go in there and start killing people. Right? I don't know.
Okay. You're right. We've established this for Chicago. Chicago is safe.
Chicago's safe.
Are there any cities where cops should be killing people?
Berlin in the 1940s.
I mean,
and killing
who
their
those
own
cops
people.
serving in the 1940s? That one's not a good one.
Yeah, I meant like they should be killing Germans. That's what I'm trying.
I mean, that's still the Nazis killing civilians. It's still not a good one.
German soldiers. I'm not going to dig myself out of it now.
Yeah, no, you're not. That one didn't work out.
Me. Don't ask me these questions. Oh my god.
Oh, I thought that I would be able to think of a city by the time that I finished asking the question. I still haven't been able to think of one.
It didn't want it to post killing Germans. I had to allow it, Grimpy Copy.
Vatican City, there we go.
Yeah, okay, Vatican City, sure, yeah, alright. Yeah. No, just fuck all cops. We don't need cops killing anyone.
Yeah, no.
Unless they're killing themselves.
There's never a case where it's acceptable.
Jesus. Like, I love, like, all these stories, too, about, like, in the States where, like, people are being mean to me, so I don't want to be a police officer anymore. And so you have people, like, dropping out of the force. And now you have like the police who like refuse to get vaccinated and they're dropping off the force. And it's like at this rate, we're just going to abolish the like cells, you know? we don't even have to directly defund them. They're just being like, I don't want to be police anymore. I'm taking my ball. I'm going home. You make me do things I don't want it. Good. Abolish yourself. It's making me do it again. I thought if I allowed it once, it would keep going. I had to allow killing Germans when we'll have to stop glorifying violence. I have people I can beat up in my own home. I don't know what that's in reference to, but
That's a reference to domestic abuse and police.
or I was hoping it was like abusing themselves. Oh, yeah, okay. 1930s Sorbo. These Italian gangsters. You see, they all need a case of lead poisoning. Jeez.
Touch on was, have you noticed that there seems to be a greater appetite? People are more overt in wanting conservative, wholesome, or alternative voices to that progressive mainstream narrative. Laura, I think part of the reason your content has been so successful is because it reaches a certain standard of quality that appears to people. Same thing with your movies. Kevin, I think it's probably fair to say that for a few years there were some wonderful people, whether in the pro-life movement or in the filmmaking industry, who were trying to make content, but the level wasn't quite there. That level has certainly been stepped up. There's quality content available for people who don't want to consume the other junk that's out there. Have you noticed a shift in appetite of people who just want to consume content that's more in line with their values?
Well,
I ignore the fact that I love he's throwing shade on Sorbos' earlier work in the Christian cinema universe. Listen, Sorbo, you remember your older movies? They fucking sucked, alright? But like
The CCU,
right? The CCU?
Christian Cinematic Universe.
Yes. There really is a Christian cinematic universe. Like they all like there's a few set actors and they all like intermingle in like their various films. So
And they have crossovers.
they do. Like A what's his name? Something
The
AR White.
Prophetic Avengers.
David AR White. This guy. This dude is like in every single fucking Christian film. Wow, there we go. This dude. I actually think he's in God's Not Dead. He's in fucking like every single Christian film. Let's see if we get a God's Not Dead on here. God's Not Dead! There he is! Anyways, I can't remember. Oh, Pureflix. His entertainment label. Pureflix Entertainment. So there is a cinematic universe. But then there's also just like they're literally like what Adam Suze said there is basically there's people who only want to watch conservative.
well, I know with me there's
there. Have you noticed a shift in appetite of people who just want to consume content that's more in line with their values?
They just want to consume content that's more aligned with their like values. So these are the people who are like, what we need is like we need diversity in the education spheres to allow for Christian voices because we're being oppressed and censored over there, and we need diversity over here. But really, they're just like, but we want to make content for our people who just want to consume our content because everything else is sin, you know? It's very terrifying. Ben Shapiro was trying to get on the grift by producing movies through Daily. Yeah. That's their school shooting film is fucked up. Like through the production angle of it. Like I think one of the persons was outed as like a predator, a child predator. So like the guy who did casting and stuff like this was a child predator, like someone who predates on children. And then the opening sequence of that movie, they shot a live deer for the making of the fucking film and skirt like because there's rules against that. You can't like kill a live animal on your fucking movie.
You can't?
No.
It's such a weird thing.
Well, that has to do with like they don't want like people like abusing animals for cinema, right? I'm sure that there could be like some way around it, like maybe like documentaries can film in like animal like production and shit like this. But they actively went out and like hunted a deer, and then like did like harvested it, or like, and some of it was like they had to like shoot it in the head, and like all on fucking camera. Not allowed to do that.
Well, I know with me, there's 80 million homes out there that want the type of movies that I do, that the type of movies that Kendrick brothers do, the Irwin brothers do, or Sonia Firm does with Rich Peluso. And
Any of these people are.
The quality of the scripts, the quality of the cinematography, or whatever, is just improving all the time. And I used to get stopped to airports and hotel lobbies all the time. People said, used to be Hercules or Andromeda, my two series. I shot Andromeda 5 years in Vancouver, by the way. Loved it there. And but now, at least 80% of people come up and so, please make more movies like Let There Be Light and Soul Surfer and God's Not Dead. That's what they say to me. They say, we got your back. We know people are attacking you and all that, so we got your back. So maybe I did lose a lot of fans, but I gained a lot of fans that are worthwhile keeping anyway.
And yourself, or maybe if you could touch on that, the new people, I know last time you mentioned, maybe you can get into it again, people who might have originally been shocked by your content, but then after remembering it, they themselves or someone they know became pregnant, and then they got in touch with you.
Yeah, like I was telling you before, like there's entire like hate groups for like me.
Does it feel weird? Like he's like, oh, Sorbo, tell me all about this acting and all stuff that you do, and then it's like all of a sudden I have to swing back to like, oh yes, other woman that we're talking to, tell us about all the hate mail you receive for your abortion propaganda. Just a weird fucking
calling them hate groups when it's like
randoms on Twitter.
I don't know, it's kind of the like, anti-fascist or the real fascist type of thing, when it's like, I'm trying to deny women's right to exist and have sex and other such things, and people don't like that, so they're a hate group.
I just said I take mine spiced. Twitter content for today. For those who don't know, that tweet said, I take my Pepsi with a little cream and sugar. I don't know how people drink it black.
Yeah. Sorry, I just said that because we seem to have an ongoing Pepsi subplot now.
Abortions brought to you. We should, like, you know what we should do? We should film, like, a bunch of, like, Pepsi ad drops to, like, randomly, like, splice them. Before Pepsi fucking sues us or something.
And the organization. So they'll share our stuff into the group, only helping us, get our message out. And then, so we'd have pro-choice women from the group see the stuff, them making fun of us in this group, but then they were actually pregnant. And so then they messaged me being like, well, but will you actually help me? And we're like, yeah. So it's all worked like that. And I think too,
it's all real.
With just stepping up the quality, because if you want to be taken seriously, you have to have quality material. And that's another thing. This whole series is being made for Lure, which is a whole platform. And, their whole little tagline is Christian movies shouldn't suck or something like that. Yeah. So
I realize now it's the pill. It's the pill.
And their whole little tagline is B. Christian movie.
Look, it's a fucking pill. It's Plan B.
No. Oh my god.
And somehow the Plan B comes in here and just deteriorates the fucking baby. And it's like, no. This is not what the pill
movies shouldn't suck or something like that. Yeah.
But Plan B, the thing that you take, isn't it within like 48 hours?
Yeah.
Of having unprotected or like possibly, I guess semen exposed sex? Like
yes. No, it's really early on. Here, this this is likely what it would look like. Something in this general vicinity. This is it would not have limbs, and it wouldn't decay like it does in the fucking video. But that would be more akin to what we're getting at here. What jokesters? What unserious silly people?
I wonder how long it'll
so
take
that's
before. I wonder how long it'll take before they come out being like every period could have been a full human.
Well, that's the thing. Like, given their like IVF stance, like, wouldn't it be like, as soon as you know someone's pregnant, you have to like basically manage their existence such that that thing survive, to the complete and utter detriment to this person, you know? What is that? Alexa, stop. The robot just started playing music. Did I say something? I wonder if I made my...
Nope, that's the signal. Machines are taking over.
They know what I'm talking about. Now I'm spooked out. That's not normal. Did I say... I don't even think I said the magic word. I mean, I said it earlier when I was referring to the Rebel Reporter, and it didn't get set off. Maybe it like waited till like this moment. I don't know. Very weird. Very weird.
That's the angle they're taking as well. And also they're taking on actors and different people in the artist world who've been canceled. So that's why they reached out to us. And that's why it's so amazing when Kevin reached out also, because there's another canceled person.
Well, it's wonderful to see like quality borderline Christian or at least conservative content starting to become a guilty pleasure for folks. It's so good that they can't help but like it. I wanted to jump to something else. It's a conversation. We attended a number of protests today.
Why would it be a guilty pleasure?
I don't know.
We're consuming
just
the
dumb.
content
They don't
we
know.
morally approve of. I feel so guilty. God damn it, they're words. Do they know what words mean?
You mentioned these things, Kevin. One, school mandatory masking for students in schools. The other, they're attempting to implement basically vaccine mandates for healthcare workers, folks who've worked throughout the whole COVID situation for 19 months here without vaccines. Now suddenly, after being heroes this whole time, they're not good enough. We're going to fire them if they're not willing to comply.
Imagine this logic here. Apply to any situation. Like, this nurse, as their whole lives, they've been saving lives, they're doing their work, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and they're like, this proven medical treatment I'm not going to provide you. And then they're like, the staff are like, no, this is a legit treatment. You have to provide the treatment. And they're like, no. And so they fire you. And they're like, well, they used to be a hero. They were helping all these lives. So therefore we have to keep it going. You can't ever fire anyone who was a hero because of the nonsense they believe. Once a hero, you got to stay in there the whole way. Keep going. You're a hero forever.
One of the issues we often hear about in the pro-life movement is body autonomy, this right to have ownership over our own voice. Someone I spoke to...
Again, I want to pause. Do you hear the siren again? Like, it...
Yep.
For the past
they've been going off all
weeks,
night.
All fucking night. It's like the Western students are just, like, destroying themselves or something. I hope this is not indicative of, like, an increase of COVID outbreaks or something. That's, like... Because this reminds me of, like, back when the pandemic was starting. This was it was like this. And so I hope this is not indicative of that and more of just, like, you know, it's a Friday night, students are getting rowdy. That's what I'm hoping is more likely because, I mean, not that I want students to get alcohol poisoning or get so rowdy they hurt themselves, but that would be less indicative of something that could spread throughout the community, you know?
today at one of these protests said someone can choose to abort at 9 months, have a partial birth abortion, but they can't choose to say no to a vaccine that is only authorized, not even approved by our health regulators. What do you make of that?
Well, once again, hypocrisy rules, right? I mean, it's amazing to me. It's do as I say, but not as I do mentality. And
we'll get into the pro-choice thing in a second. I just did want to highlight that he said the thing was not approved. It's approved now. You can stop with that talking point because it's been approved. If you still don't want to take it, even though it's approved, then come up with another argument, because we know you're going to shift the goalposts. But it's been approved, bud. You're going to have to try a new slogan. In fact, it's been approved for several weeks. So there you
go. This whole thing of my body, my choice, I said the same thing. That should apply to mask wearing. That should apply to the vaccine. It should apply to anything in your life that has to do with your own body. Mm-hmm. There's more to this than what they're letting on. And I think more and more people are waking up to that fact that there's more. It's more of a control thing. You know,
did you hear what he just said?
No, sorry, I got distracted. Apparently there was a shooting near the McDonald's in Hyde Park, and that's why there's all the sirens. Or, like, that's part of why there's all the sirens.
What kind of, something worrying? Lots of people shot? Or just, like...
No.
Shooting. Okay.
Doesn't sound like it, or else it would be bigger news by now, I would expect.
No, it can't.
It's like a regular run-of-the-mill shooting at a McDonald's.
Yeah, it can't be that we're hearing. Because Hyde Park is in the complete opposite direction from where the sirens are going.
Mm.
So it can't be that.
Okay. Well, apparently there's other things going on tonight as well then.
But he just said, my body, my choice should mean that I should be allowed not to wear a mask and not get vaccinated or stuff like this. Which I love, they like the bodily autonomy argument when it points to themselves. But, it's so fucking weird. Just, I can't even get over this, because it's like, we're going to deny it when it comes to women and pregnant people generally. I mean, although in their mind, it's anti-women. Because, I mean, their bigotry towards trans men is so... full in their brains that they don't even come up to them. They don't seem relevant to this topic. But their whole notion of bodily autonomy is just so fucking whacked out. Here, listen.
Regulators. What do you make of that?
Well, once again, hypocrisy rules, right? I mean, it's amazing to me. It's do as I say, but not as I do mentality. And this whole thing of my body, my choice, I said the same thing. That should apply to mask wearing. That should apply to the vaccine. It should apply to anything in your life that has to do with your own body.
It should apply to anything that you do that has to do with your own body. It should. It should apply to me choosing not to wear a mask. It should apply to me for getting a shot, and it should apply to you for having an abortion. What? I don't. Why should it apply to you but not to the other? You know what I mean? It's like you're taking it on but not realizing how it contradicts your whole fucking worldview.
Mm-hmm. There's more to this than what they're letting on, and I think more and more people are waking up to that fact that there's more. It's more of a control thing. You know, I keep hearing people saying, "Hey, this is just a test run. You wait until they get going with this right now." You know, they sit there one shot, then it's two shots. Oh, now they're talking about a third shot. I've got 3 videos I've seen. I'm sure these nurses have been fired that were on the internet that had millions of hits saying, "I'm here in the hospital and the beds are filled again, and 90% are from people that have had both shots." So.
Not true, by the way. I gotta point this out every time he makes a false statement about the vaccines. But the 90% of cases are not breakthrough cases. That's just made up. All the people in the hospital are the people refusing to be vaccinated. So maybe get vaccinated. Maybe that is the right thing to do. If all of our leaders can come together and in the back rooms of the debate, release a cringy Twitter video telling you all to get vaccinated. Maybe that's a sign that you should get vaccinated too. Listen to our dear leaders.
Please explain that to me, the great Oz Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates. You know, I laugh once again at the hypocrisy of a guy like Bill Gates. For 20 years, he says the world's overpopulated. But boy, out of the goodness of his heart, he has a vaccine to save your life. Okay. I mean, we got to question these things, guys. It's a weird power trip going on with these people. And I think we got to, we have a right to question. And I'm glad to see more and more people are stepping up now, not being afraid to do it.
I certainly agree with you there. Perhaps just in wrapping up, Kevin, if you don't mind, if you could tell us.
Didn't you know Bill Gates is in charge of everything? He's in charge of whether or not you get vaccinated. I'm pretty sure, Viano, do you remember signing the waiver to get your vaccine? We had to sign our souls to Bill Gates before we were allowed even to step foot into the building where we got our vaccine.
Windows 11 is a new and highly functional computer program operating system. We all love Windows 11 and its proprietary Microsoft programs such as Word, PowerPoint, Excel, whatever they call the new Internet Explorer.
I used to be Edge.
One free month of
Windows
Xbox
10.
Game Pass.
I can't remember if this was before your tenure on the podcast or afterwards, but like there was some joke earlier
Poop water.
Before there was the vaccine available, where we were joking because like I think Ezra had brought up that it was like the Bill Gates vaccine or some shit like this, and we're like, yes, when you get it, it does the Windows 10 like or Windows opening or Windows XP the dun 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 when you boot the computer.
Yeah, I think that was my tenure.
Yeah, it just feels so long ago.
Co-host.
It feels so long ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Wow.
almost been a year.
When did you? Yeah.
October.
Okay. Yeah. October. Or well, October was the starting of the streams, so it could have been November. It might have been November.
I have no idea, honestly.
Either way, it would have been around that time. Left or right stream? I don't know who you are, Violetic37. I'm gonna go with left though. Always choose the left stream. Okay.
Left is best.
Some of the initiatives you're working on beyond this and where people can find you and follow up to see what you're doing these days.
Well, the best place to go is Sorbo Studios. That's sorbostudios.com. Check that out. I got a movie in theaters right now. I don't know if it's up in Canada or not, but it's called The Girl Who Believes in Miracles. It's a wonderful little movie I shot with Mira Sorvino and Peter Coyote. I got another one. It's called One Nation Under God. It's a high school drama. It deals with putting that phrase back into the American Pledge of Allegiance because they've taken that out of the Pledge of Allegiance as well. And they took the Bible. I find it ironic. They took the Bible out of their schools in 1964, but they give the Bibles to prisoners. So I'm going, all right, I'll try to figure that one out later. And then I've got a movie.
How is that a contradiction? They give the Bible to prisoners, but they don't give the Bible to school kids. Why are you contradicting yourselves, leftists? What's wrong, leftists? What a weird fucking man. Here's an idea. We shouldn't be giving Bibles to prisoners either. We should give them what books they ask for because they're human beings and should be treated with dignity as well.
Opening in January that I directed up in Calgary with it's called Miracle in East Texas. It's a true story set in 1930.
Oh Lord.
And
oh Lord. That looks no, okay. But that was in fact a dowsing rod that I saw there. That is a dowsing rod. Holy like are they pro
opening
dowsing
in
rod?
January that I directed up in Calgary.
Are they pro dowsing rod?
It's how you find water.
Yeah, water divination. Are we going to learn that Vienna was pro water divination?
Yeah. It's how you find water.
Yeah. There's a great, if you want a great video, check YouTube James Randi water dowsing, and you'll get a great video come up probably. What it is they had, what was it like? So they hid the water within a bunch of buckets that were like turned. So like there would be like a bowl with water and a bunch of buckets that they then put, and then had the water dowser like walk to see whether they would choose the right bucket where the water is, and they would never get it right, and they would always find some like excuses like your negative energy is screwing with the dowsing rod. Oh my god. I hope this movie is pro water dowsing. That'll be just fucking incredible. So this, what it's supposed to do, it's like you hold it and it's supposed to like direct your hands, like you feel the life energy through like the rods, and it'll point to where the water is.
Yeah. It's got WikiHow articles about it.
God, I can't. Your delivery right now is just so straight that I can't tell. I can't tell if it's belief or not. You show up to my house.
I'm
and
looking
just, like,
up and down the odds now.
Oh my god. You want to know something really? You want to know a really depressing story about dowsing rods? Or actually, you might find
Sure.
it in like some like wraparound way, like less depressing. Or let's just say it's karmic. But basically, this. Tell me about Martin Luther in a second. But basically, this dude, I can't remember his name, but he somehow convinced the American military that he created this device that would detect like improvised explosive devices in Iraq, and sold like millions of these devices to American soldiers. And it was basically like a Radio Shack antenna connected to like a plastic handle. And so
yes, and didn't it have like glued ants on the inside, or was that an FBI thing?
I don't know about that part. Well, I know that it didn't work, but like you had American soldiers blowing up from improvised explosive devices, believing that they were given this device that could, like, similar to water dowsing, pick up where the landmines or explosives are. And a bunch of them died. More sirens, holy shit.
Solidarity with that dude who killed American soldiers.
I think he scammed a lot of people, like that wasn't the only scam that he ran, so he's a shitty person, but in that case it's like war in Iraq was bad in the first place. But it's also kind of fucked up that the government would like do that as well. Like there's like levels of fucked up on that one, you know?
In the late 1960s, during the Vietnam War, some United States Marines used dowsing to attempt to locate weapons and tunnels.
Pseudoscience is so messed up. Like the fact, like human beings throughout all of our fucking life, we're like, this is the thing. I was interested in this stuff for so long. So like when it came to the pandemic, I was just like, part of me was like, hopefully humanity would come around. Hopefully, but like deep down in my heart, I knew that we were fucked. It's like, you're gonna have a whole bunch of people who are gonna believe that horse paste is gonna cure their fucking COVID, and sure enough,
you're right, Jody. Dowsing will cure COVID.
Oh my god! Actually, so like the dowsing, if you walk in a room of people, the rod is attracted to COVID people, and then that's how you. That's actually the new COVID tests that they're handing out to everyone. God, what was the name of the film? Because maybe I can Google the film and see if it's a pro. Can't remember what he called it.
And then I've got a movie opening in January that I directed up in Calgary with, it's called Miracle in East Texas. It's a true story.
Filmed in Calgary, called Miracle in East Texas. (2019) film. Okay, let's pull this up. Oh no, it's explicit in the title, I think. I think it's gonna be a. What do we got here? In 1931, a pair of super slippery flim-flam men, Doc Boyd and Dad Everett, blow into the small town of Cornville, Texas. Cornville, Texas. Planning to bilk a few lonely widows.
Cornville, Texas.
Planning to bilk a few lonely widows with their tried and true dry oil well grift, which has already worked a half dozen times in Oklahoma. So yeah, they are grifters.
They're dowsing for oil.
Yeah. I mean, I was nervous given everything else he believed. I was like, what are they gonna do? Do a film where they're fucking promoting dowsing to people? But okay, it's anti-dowsing. Okay.
See, the thing is, both Catholics and Protestants have come out against dowsing.
Okay.
So, like, Martin Luther came out against dowsing for metal because that was originally what it was for. But if anything, that just tells us further dowsing is real.
This also, I think this makes me feel better too, because one of the actors that's in this.
Set in 1930. And I'm in it along with Lou Gossett Jr., who was amazing. Tyler Mane, who's a Canadian. He's a wrestler. He's also Sabretooth in the X-Men movie, the first X-Men movie.
Right.
And John Ratzenberger, Cliff from Cheers. People remember Cliff from Cheers, the postman.
Why did he say Cliff from Cheers and not the Mr. Is it Mr. Potato Head?
Cliff from Cheers. People remember Cliff from Cheers.
I can't remember if it's Mr. Potato Head or the pig from Toy Story. He also has a cameo in The Empire Strikes Back. The one thing that I love about Raffensperger. If you want to know what his moment in The Empire Strikes Back is, they're on Hoth and the space battle is happening and they gotta get like Leia and like everyone else off the planet. And like he comes in at one moment to basically just be like, the Empire on the like south side or whatever, and then he like runs away. Like that's that's the extent of his role in that movie. But he liked Star Wars so much, they let Cliff from Cheers come on and enter one scene.
Hell yeah.
A postman, and it's a wonderful movie. It's like a romantic comedy, faith-based movie, and it's called Miracle in East Texas. And then I'm about to do the Left Behind movie. I just finished the Reagan movie with Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid plays Reagan. I play his pastor. And then I've got a Western I'm shooting in New Mexico with Dean Cain and Antonio Sabato called Trailblazers. So knock on wood, I'm staying busy. I do have a couple documentaries out there I want to give a plug for. Before the Wrath, go to beforethewrath.com. It was the #1 documentary for 5.
So he's going to do some documentaries, but I just want to say, I thought he was canceled. For someone who's canceled, he's got a lot of shit coming up. A ton of shit.
5 months this year on Amazon. It deals with the Book of Revelation. And then there's Climate Hustle 2, for all you people that don't want to hear the other side of the global warming issue. I call it weather. And then we have another one.
The climate is just weather. Vienna, why didn't we think of that? This whole time we thought that the planet was warming and we're all going to die. And it's just weather. It's just weather. And we learned this from Kevin Sorbo. Do you know who...
The earth is God's creation, and as such, you would not let us destroy it.
Do you know who directed and produced this film? Climate Hustle?
Elizabeth May.
We've talked about it on the show. His name is Marky Mark
Enemy
Morano. This is a Mark Morano
Mark
film.
Emery.
Oh, God. This is a Mark Morano film, you know? The guy who thinks that Bill Gates is trying to get you to drink some poop. That's the guy who directed this movie. Mark Morano.
Is he wrong, though?
What?
Is he wrong?
Well, in that case, not quite wrong. So it's only going up by 1 degree, you snowflake. Yeah. Just 1 degree. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, the globalist elites are trying to force us to eat bugs. What's another? Oh yeah, this is like the 3rd podcast episode we ever did. Was about Mark Morano, who claimed that leftists were promoting cannibalism to green the planet. And like it didn't make sense, but apparently somehow cannibalism is going to save the planet, and the left is promoting it. That is Mark Moreno. He's a fun dude, but he directed that film, and then Kevin Sorbo did the voice acting. Well, I'm a guy who's going to say a lot of sciencey words, even though I know absolutely nothing to do with science. In fact, I think that the climate is just weather. That's what you get with this movie.
One called Against the Tide. I spent 3 weeks in England with John Lennox and 2 weeks in Israel with him. He's an apologist. He's debated all the great atheists of the world. And it's proving God in a world of science. It's againsthetide.movie if you want to get it on streaming. And I just finished another documentary called Eating with the Enemy, which will be out at Christmas time. And it deals with the Last Supper. And I love the title, Eating with the Enemy, because you got Judas in that batch of 12 there. So it is a pretty fascinating educational look at the Last Supper.
Eating with the enemy, get it? Because like Judas was at the Last Supper, get it? So deep, yo. So fucking deep. And get rounded up into FEMA camps with Hobbit homes. Yep. No, actually, the Hobbit homes is explicit in Bill Gates and George Soros's weather document that they released. So I hope you enjoy your new Hobbit FEMA life. Enjoy it.
Yes, once the United Nations Security Council creates UN FEMA. Where we're going. Where we're headed.
Oh my god. We are doomed.
Infama.
We're doomed. We are all doomed. We're doomed. Yeah. There's no how do we come back from this? How do
we don't. There is no
yeah.
coming back.
So it was nice to know everyone. Yeah.
Well, thank you so very much for joining us
thanks.
today. I look forward to meeting you perhaps in person. We can do an interview on some of the other incredible work you're doing, maybe one of your other
really
films.
fucking loves
Laura, final word to you. Tell people how they can find this Exposed project when we're looking at people will be able to see the final project and how people can help out.
Nope. No. You're not going to promote your
We need to find out how we're going to watch it.
You know how you watch it? Get pregnant and abort it. You can stick the camera up in there and watch her find out that her propaganda does not match reality. That's
Yes, sir, Jody. I'll get to work on it.
Hello, my rebels. Hello, my rebels. I'm a good boy. I'm a weirdo.